my hand. Yeah. Say it. When I roll up, oh yeah, me go. Me no roll up, cause them it. Say it. When I roll up, oh yeah, me say what. Me no roll up, cause them it. Say it. When I roll up, oh yeah, me go. Roll up. Say it. When I roll up, me go. Roll up. Say it. When I roll up, oh yeah, me yeah. Oh, yeah. Just a little bit just a little bit you won't let go of my hand. Go. Me no roller coaster, Mr. A. When I roller coaster, go yeah, Mr. Wa. When I roller coaster, go say Mr. Say it. When I roller coaster, go yeah, Mr. Go. Me no roller coaster, Mr. A. When I roller coaster, go yeah, Mr. Wa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of BlockCon podcast. We do have a couple great ladies here in the Web3 space. So, yeah, welcome again. This episode will be very special. We'll be talking about different topics with a women's approach. And now in the digital economy, I mean, it's not a future state; it's an operational reality, and the decisions being made at the product level, at the regulatory level, and the capital in the next 18 months will determine who participates in that economy. So let me introduce our guest, Kelly Ann Collins. She's the founder of She Crypto and other endeavors. So, Kelly, if you want to take a little bit of the stage and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very excited to be here on LinkedIn Live. And yeah, so I have a nonprofit in the United States in Washington, D.C. It's called Unstoppable Future Corporation. And under that, we have several programs, one of which is Women in Bitcoin and Blockchain Fund. And we also have She Crypto. And She Crypto, with that, we amplify women in the blockchain space. And we also use the fund along with She Crypto to help send women to events and help amplify them. And so just in less than 1 year, we've sent more than 2,000 women to events for free. So we love events.
That's great. That's great to know. Kelly, thanks so much. Laura, if you want to go over now.
Hey everyone, this is Laura. I am co-founder and operations director at She Crypto. I'm doing many things, wearing many hats, and I'm excited to be here today to talk to Kelly about the amazing work that she's doing with She Crypto, with Unstoppable Future, and with Women in Bitcoin and Blockchain Fund, and also to share our insights and our thoughts on the women perspective, and also how that ties into BlockCon.
Great. So now that Kelly just said that she Crypto and all the community loves events, let's tap a little bit into BlockCon and why we are not calling it an event but a retreat. So Laura, yeah, you are a co-founder at BlockCon, director of operations, which means that you have a clear vision of bringing in together more than 1,000 decision makers from all parts of the globe, and yeah, more than 60 countries actually. So, to talk around the infrastructure, economy, regulation, participation, capital allocation. So, in that process, what actually reveals from the ecosystem? What are the pains that you identify, and now that we are trying to solve a block on?
See, I see all of these sectors kind of linking together. That's why, we created this very intentionally, having three pillars, having the more TradFi Web 2, as we call it, institutions come together with the more Web 3, more technological players in the game, because I think it's obvious that the world is becoming more and more digitalized, and blockchain is becoming mainstream in the sense that big companies have been using it for years. It makes everything cheaper, more transparent, more efficient. So it just made sense for us at BlockCon to bring together decision makers and companies that are looking into the future, like we are, together with the iGaming sector as well, that is very much in need of payment rails that are more efficient, that these you know two other sectors can complement it. So that's how we came about, and we're here to alleviate those pain points that decision makers, institutional players are feeling, and we feel like they're ready to come together, and the signs are there. They have been there for many years, and it's just increasing, and we're very excited to finally make it happen, make it a reality at BlockCon.
Absolutely. I do believe that one of the pain points is exactly like reducing this deals frame, which you kind of, spend almost a year to find a liquidity provider or stable coin rails to actually satisfy the user's needs in terms of, like kind of monetizing the earnings in less than a second. So that's really important to have those conversations, and Blockon actually acts as a bridge for this different sectors. So turning up to Kelly. So you are as a founder of She Crypto and the Women in Bitcoin and Blockchain Fund, puts you in a intersection of media, financial education, capital access in this ecosystem. So give us your version of what's working, what's still broken, and what are the leverages that you see potentially solve the block on?
Well, I think, as far as BlockCon goes, I think it's a great way to bring people together in an intimate setting. On the women's side of things, I think more and more women are entering the space, and, that's very exciting. So I think, a retreat like BlockCon would be a great place for them because, at the bigger events, you don't have as many opportunities to engage one-on-one. So at the smaller events, and especially with a retreat like this, there'll be more opportunities, I think, to build relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And actually, what happens is that always like women in the Web3 space are often more taken from the angle of diversity, like being inclusive and this kind of stuff, which is actually something that you guys have been, like fighting off. So I'm putting more framing of institutional representation and executive and technical leadership in the industry. Um, what's your approach on this one, Laura or Kelly, if you want to add on top of this?
I have so much to say about this. Me and Kelly just work arduously to change this, and we're both C-level professionals who are women in this space. So we want to lead by example, and through She Crypto, we do so much to put these women in these places that are needed, because it's I don't like to lead with um, with the framing of, we need to include more women just because we need to include more women because they're ready, they're prepared, and sometimes they're not invited to these places. And perhaps Kelly and I are lucky enough to get invited to these high places, but when we actually there, you realize that there's three women, and then one of them is a PA. So we need to change that, and it's a reality. I do not like to lead with this, but I know that it also is real and it exists. So that's how I see it, and that's my approach.
Right. I mean, there are women in the space, but you just might not know who they are. So, that's the way I think of it. There are a lot of women out there building and working, to grow their businesses and to grow in the space. But maybe we just, the like overall in the industry, in these different, parts of the industry, maybe, people just don't know who they are, but they're busy working. I mean, I have a lot of stories like that, where people contact me and they're, somewhere, or they're, in this country or this place or place in, the United States, and they're just having, trouble getting into the events or getting seen. Yeah. But they're doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big chunk of what I have seen in different events of women leading in the building infrastructure. I've seen a lot of participation into the regulatory sector. I've seen a lot of women taking leadership into that and actually putting the conversation at a really high level. So, talking a little bit into this, Laura, and in terms of building BlockCon, which means that we are bringing in a lot of C-suite personalities from different industries, and it's predominant with men. But seems like there will be kind of a catalyzer, some kind of a link in which women leadership is actually mandatory more than needed, right? So, what's your thoughts or your opinion into this one as enablers?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kelly hit the nail on the head with there's so many women that are leading already. We just don't know about them. So more amplification is needed. Mm, there are certainly many more women, like from going to conferences myself, than if I compare the conferences that I've been to this year compared to 5 years ago. I see many more women, and I do agree, Felipe, that I've seen a lot of women in the regulatory space. I wonder why, but it's true. I've seen that, and I would love to see more women kind of being responsible for allocating, capital as well, where it's predominantly men, historically. And at BlockCon, we're curating this vision of having more density deliberately of women, and it's not an easy task because sometimes women don't want to be put on the spotlight. So it's kind of like you need to get the reps in to be comfortable coming on stage or being, public facing. But, doing this just by coming on here and having Kelly on as well is leading by example. And we, we applaud the women that step forward and that are already in these places. But we want to see more. At BlockCon, we already have some very accomplished women joining us as speakers. Alexandra Shoremans from DatTales, Camila Santana from Revolut, Nicole Purin from Trustify, among others, Kellyanne Collins from Unstoppable featuring in She Crypto, obviously myself and others. So we're very excited about that. We're very intentional about that. I feel very passionately about the topic. So yeah, doing the best that I can to bring this tailored, group of women to BlockCon.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I mean, it's also a strategic choice because, as I mentioned before, like in different sectors, actually, we do have Sara Abuela from Ceros, which is a big capital allocator, and she's pushing like in different verticals, and is really hands-on into anything that has to do with growing businesses around the globe. So, yeah, it is not. Like we're taking this on side A and side B, but actually doing the right convergence to bring decision makers to have the real and executable conversations for people that are building different products or different services in the industry. So tapping into this one, actually, Kelly, as you were building a Shri Crypto, which is a platform of thousands of subscribers, and you're helping building different things. The education layer is very fundamental actually into the industry, and it is being treated as a pre-product or pre-service problem, but something, or the approach that Street Crypto has is more like solving it when the real work begins. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think by interviewing and highlighting and showing women, chatting with women who are already in the space, that other women can learn from them. So even, I always use her as an example, my mom, right? Who was first, working to get into it. It took a while. And she was like, oh, and I've been telling her, yes, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. But it wasn't until she saw one of our guests and she's like, oh, she's around my age. and then she was, interested, and she really didn't, totally grasp what the person was doing, but she's like, oh, this person's like me. So I think, we need to show more women, people, like them, because you just never, know what is going to spark it. But yeah, so, with our content, it doesn't matter where you are. If you don't know anything at all about blockchain, you can come and just, learn about these women and what they've done in their careers, because pretty much everyone's done something before blockchain, almost everyone. So, you have the web, 2 or experiences, web 3 experiences. So, I mean, really everyone has something in common with every person, because every person who comes onto She Crypto was curious about crypto and blockchain before they got into it. So, yeah, so I think any level, you can learn from anyone, really, even if you don't even understand the space.
Yeah, I fully agree. And one of the things that I've noticed in the space is that there are a lot of content out there in different channels, and people's trying to, like kind of choosing which ones are better, which ones are more precise. But I do believe that what you guys are doing in She Crypto and what will happen in BlockCon is I don't know how to call it, but more practical, like having real conversations with other people that it's like, having 10 years, 5 years of experience in the space, kind of accelerates your knowledge, and kind of gives you like the proper thing that you need to actually go there and open a wallet, use an exchange or a DEX, and start, like participating in the industry. So, and with this, what I want to say is that there is also a lot of people that's creating content that might be biased, and having real conversations with people in experience uh, could be more effective to enter the space without, I know we all made into this space like maybe 5, 7, 10 years ago, and we did a lot of mistakes. We tapped into pump and dump tokens and whatever, everything that happens in the old west of Web3. But having these conversations actually gives you more insight into what to do and do it properly. So yeah, that's, I consider, is a fundamental, the difference between content education and direct education in this kind of communities. So yeah, Laura, and tapping into this, actually, like BlockCon is functioning as a bridge of different verticals. So yeah, regulators, capital allocators, infrastructure builders, traditional finance, fintech, iGaming. So how does BlockCon function as a kind of a education infrastructure for these different verticals?
I have to say, Felipe, before answering that nothing beats real life networking and just getting in there. In my opinion, it's just a booster in your personal and professional career, I think. So yeah, BlockCon, like I mentioned earlier, is doing this purposely. This big umbrella that just englobes everything digital finance, because this is where the world is going, right? And this is where money is going, and this is where tech is going. And just our retreat model where you're, nurturing relationships for 4 days, 3 nights. It beats a 15-minute panel, or it beats a very big conference, and the dialogue that you're going to be having there is more executive, is more personal. Even if you don't leave with a close business, you can leave with a friend, because you're gonna get to know that person, much more than in another format. Poolside, beachside, cotton linen vibe. We're not talking about big cities and taxis and traffic jams. So I think that the knowledge transfer in this setting is just more efficient. And it's also, when I think about education as infrastructure and what BlockCon represents, we also want to make sure that we include local authorities in the DR, because the Dominican Republic is becoming a fintech hub, in Punta Cana specifically. So we want to make sure that we are doing a very extensive institutional outreach currently, to get the different ministries and banks and fintech and just tech in general companies aware that we're going to be there, so that they can participate, and we're not just importing the conference format, but we're also growing the local grounds where we're actually operating.
Anything you want to add on that, Kelly?
Oh, I was just thinking it sounds like a lot of fun. No, but it sounds really good. And I like that. I like the more relaxed setting. And yeah, so I'm really, looking forward to that, because we'll, get to know each other, as more like friends, right? Yeah, than just we're going to a conference. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
because you at a conference, it's like you have set, like, how when we've gone to conferences before, and you have how many minutes you sit at a table for 5 minutes and get to know somebody real fast, and then you got to move on to the next meeting.
And it's like, selfie, bye.
Yeah,
talk to you in 2 weeks.
Selfie,
when I'm like,
so we can remember each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This is the opposite. This is the opposite.
Yeah.
PSA.
So I like the more relaxed approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned something, Laura, which is fundamental, and is this difference between having this rush, like having a 50 minutes panel in which you will actually pay attention for maybe the first 10, 15 minutes. And then you will be distracted with your phone, or maybe someone by your side, and having that kind of a different conversation. And that's what the BlockCon looks different, because it is more about having more time to get to know people, actually managing your time. This is something that I've been talking with different friends and different participants at BlockCon, and it is that we are offering this possibility of owning your own time and directing your efforts to the right sector that you want to talk, and like a kind of taking your time to know that person, going into a deeper conversation, and creating this kind of bonding that will result in saving even a semester of negotiations, and like upscaling calls. So that's something that is really different, and something that we are BlockCon are trying to nurture. Now, I'm going to throw a question for you both. Please don't fight for answering. But what do you think is the biggest education failure in the digital economy right now? And like trying to identify this gap. And if that's close, will it unlock more adoption in the different markets?
Will the failure unlock? I mean, I think just in general, I could just say, when I got into, blockchain and crypto, there was no education. It was like my cousin saying, give me $1,000. I'm going to buy something called Bitcoin. There weren't, we didn't have wallets or anything like that. So, I mean, the education was is this real? And then, several years later, with Twitter Spaces, you could at least hop into a space and try to learn something. But a lot of what I did in the beginning was just gambling, I guess, because I would find an app or something, and I would be like, okay, I'm just going to put like, $5 in here because I don't know where it's going. So, in the beginning, you had to educate yourself, and then you had Twitter, spaces and things like that online and social media where people were trying to educate each other, but we still didn't really know what was going on. We might be in this thing saying we don't know what's going to happen. But there are some places and some people out there who are educating now. However, there are lots of inconsistencies, still. We're still early. So I guess the opportunity here is that we're still early. That's why it's still a bit chaotic, and that's okay. So if you're here, it means you're here in the beginning.
It's crazy, but it's true. We're still early. I feel like we've been saying this for 10 years, but
yeah, I know. 10 years later, we're still early.
We're still early. You're still early. Buy Bitcoin. Not financial advice. So Kelly, I totally agree with what Kelly is saying. Also, I think an educational barrier is how sometimes challenging it is to use some of these crypto apps, and just the jargon and the UI UX. I think that could be better. It just reminds me of the internet in the 2000s, and then with the pop-ups, the pop-ups on Windows 98 and Windows XP, and just using ICQ and AOL and MSN, and that kind of vibe and that kind of interface. And I think we haven't taken off yet from that kind of phase in crypto and in blockchain, and I'm very excited about that. And just blockchain just opens up so much liquidity through different mechanisms, infrastructure plays, and when people actually feels comfortable, when people feel comfortable using it, and just like they use Robinhood, or how they use their bank app. Some are better than others. I think neobanks are getting it faster than kind of the traditional banks, but when that happens, I think we're going to the moon even more. And we're not going to be so early in the coming years, because I think when that switch is made, I think it's exploding.
Absolutely. And this 2000s aesthetic is something that in the beginning of the Web3 journey, everyone goes against that. It's like opening your first wallet, and it's like, I have two buttons, and maybe I throw my life here, But it is really important to have into account this kind of curve. And nowadays we are sitting into 7 to 8% of the global population actually using crypto, but we are in a phase in which actually institutionals are coming in, and they do have big experience into making UX and the experience as smooth as possible. So I bet that everyone that's watching this, they don't even know how the bank operates and how money actually works. They just use it. And that is kind of the same as it happened with the internet 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Everyone was just like going to consult some information on a website that looks like made in a Word page, and just posted there like publicly. But nowadays, everyone is using it like more than 6 hours a day through a phone. And it seems like everyone that's building is actually kind of smoothing and removing all these obstacles. And now you can see your grandpa using TikTok as if as a user of 1,000 years. So I believe that with every crypto app and every neobank on every fintech that's jumping into the usage of digital assets in general, not just layer one or layer two blockchains, but the stable coins and everything. that will feel only natural for everyone out there. And we are in that phase, and everyone is pushing for this, and the right spaces for, as Kelly was saying, the right spaces for education online, um, the right voices out there trying to bring in really easy to use and ready to use technology is what's happening right now. And BlockCon is actually positioning these different verticals for the builders to have this conversation to make things easier for everyone in terms of adoption. So that's why it is a strategic decision also to do it into the Latin American region, because it's one of the biggest fintech laboratories. If you look down from Mexico to Argentina, you'll find maybe 1,000 companies doing kind of the same, but it is a 620 million people open market.
Yeah.
So it looks like um, Latin America is giving the right reasons for the world to think that this actually works and this is actually possible. It isn't like a bank from 100 years can jump into crypto in the in just a month. So that's really
And
important to mention. Yeah,
yeah, I'd like to add that, I mean, institutional readiness has never been this clear. Like, all it takes is just clear rules, because it's not the same as Kelly deploying $5 on a meme than a bank deploying millions and billions of dollars. So they need to, to feel ready and to feel safe. It's understandable, right? It's not the same. 2 years ago, a regulator or a bank would need months of internal approval, perhaps, to sit down with a Web3 builder or to share a stage with a Web3 builder. But this is here right now. And at BlockCon, we're going to see it. We have the Central Bank of the Dominican Republic having a presence there. We have this insurance superintendency. We have the royal family of Akman. We have the Buenos Aires Senate. So, institutions from governments are very much interested, and they are very much ready to have these conversations. And BlockCon is the place where this is going to be happening.
absolutely, absolutely. And in terms of that, Kelly, you have been a public voice into regulatory clarity as precondition for adoption, like giving people the security and the confidence that they can just go and use different products. So try to give us your actual regulatory position, what needs to happen right now, in which jurisdictions, and what is the consequences if these bottlenecks are not solved.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I know so many different states and countries and even counties are, trying to figure this out, right? And then the companies are coming in, but like I don't know. I mean, at this point, I think people are, and brands and governments are starting to get it together. I still think it's going to be a while, before everything is working seamlessly, though. So I think we still have another 10, I hate to say it, years. I think. Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, if we look at 2036, then it'll be interesting to look back at this year.
Yeah, I think that time frame could get real, but nowadays what I'm feeling is that every year it gets a little bit more accelerated. There's more products. Even maybe 5 years ago, we gave a lot of importance into educating and kind of positioning that into the technical thing, like knowing how the blockchain works, what a hash rate is, like signatures on a transaction. But nowadays, it is more about like listening the right voices and then jumping into it, and you find yourself maybe surprised that it is so easy right now. I've seen, for example, different companies globally that are just introducing stable coins and no one knows about it. They just use it as regular money. They're just caring about being secure, being fast, and like kind of you find yourself, I'm based in Colombia, and I spend 45 seconds sending money to my brother in Spain. That was not possible 5 years ago, and I hadn't I had not like months of education to doing this. I just found the right product and started using it. So it seems like 2036 will be an important milestone, but we will get there more faster than we believe. And in that terms, Laura, like BlockCon has uh, real regulators in the room right now. You mentioned Buenos Aires Senate, superintendents of the Dominican Republic, central bank offices, family offices from the Middle East, and those are people that are actually very interested into having this dialogue around regulations. So um, how does it look at that level, and what you believe would be the impact of these conversations between different markets and different voices and different mindsets?
I think that it's incredibly positive for accelerating what we're talking about. 2036 is a target that I'm like, oh my god, I hope not. But at the same time, these things move slower than I think we realize and that what we would want. And I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of milestones. From now to then. But this is precisely why spaces and events like retreats like BlockCon are exist. This is kind of like the reasoning behind it. We want to accelerate this. We want to put the right people on the map and together at a strategic place, which is Punta Cana and BlockCon. Like I mentioned, we already have regulators confirmed, and we're talking to many others. We're putting together roundtables as well for them to actually engage with banks, with the different responsible entities that are taking these wireframes and these regulatory frameworks forward, so that they talk to each other. So regulators come to listen and participate in the dialogue, not only to listen to kind of like theoretical ideas, but with banks and other players that are actually already doing things in their countries. And Dominican Republic is a signal. It's a digital economy hub. I've said this before. Google, Amazon, and Nvidia have set up shop in the DR in the last year. So they obviously done their due diligence. Multinationals obviously have a lot of deep pockets and funds to be able to do that, and they chose DR for a reason. Punta Cana is a very important hub. It's becoming more so over the years, and I think that the thesis is just reinforced. It just reinforces from all of these topics and verticals that we're focusing on. And we're meeting in November to bring this, all of these topics forward and accelerate it so that we get there before 2036.
We will. I'm sure of it. And just to add a little bit on that, guys, take a simple Google search, and you will see that the tech giants are throwing money into the Dominican Republic because it is a strategic point for connectivity. Um, Having, for example, just Google building up this submarine internet cable will be a game changer for all the emerging economies in Central and South America. You can see also that the real estate and tokenized real estate is having a boom in the country, and every investor is kind of turning heads into Punta Cana, and big businesses are being closed in different venues there. That's why BlockCon was not a purely aesthetical decision to just being different and having Web3 finance and fintech conferences in a beach environment. It is just bringing people that will be actually interested in investing in the region, investing in these emerging economies that nowadays are really interesting for investors around the world. Um, so yeah, that's why BlockCon is more an strategic decision more than attending another conference. And changing topics a little bit here, guys. I'll throw something that might be a little bit personal, because it is about if you will be able to change something in the structural conditions of the market you operate in, regulatory, infrastructure, cultural, what would it be? Khalif, you want to go first?
If I could change something, well, they would all just listen to us. Yes. I mean, I know right now, everyone is trying to, clarify how will we do this, and a lot of people are, and organizations are entering the space. And, I understand it takes time, to clarify, and then, they'll be building out the frameworks for everything. So I do know it takes time, but yeah. I mean, we could go back to education. So, more education in this space. There's something several years ago, I worked on something where we were basically for Billboard magazine, like giving NFTs. There were NFTs at Billboard magazine. So all the fans could get NFTs from different artists, different promotions and things. But we were all excited about it, and it was all set up. But you have to educate people on what this is before you give it to them. So even if we had everything in place and everything was perfect, people are going to still need to learn how to use it. So we still need the education. Because one thing we did several years ago, we did this, and we're like, yay, it's going live, and it went out to millions and millions of people. But then it was like nothing happened. It's kind of like building an elaborate place in the metaverse, and you're excited. That happened with Walmart, but nobody came. And then they came to me and they're like, what did we do wrong? And the thing is, you have to educate and warm people up, and, let them know what's happening first. So right now, I think is a good time to be educating, because even if it's built, people won't really know what to do with it. So, and the Billboard thing was great. It was great. But, everyone was like super confused. So then we had to start, educating, people first on like, what is this and what does it give you, and how do you do it?
Yeah, I fully agree, and it kind of remembered me about the Reddit case, which from nowhere they just started minting NFTs to kind of give you identity into the Reddit context, and everyone was so excited, like, dude, I'm having like a unique skin, and it is only mine, blah blah blah. And after a few weeks it just faded. And I mean, for example, I have like 3 or 4 there, and I don't really use them because they don't have an actual like a factual action that I do with that. It's like kind of collectibles. But yeah, I think the different companies just jumped in to have this kind of noise and jumping on the train, but then it faded because yeah, it's exactly what you say. Like, people were not fully aware of the functionality or the advantages that these kind of products kind of guaranteed you. But yeah, I mean, that's how sometimes the market works. Laura, go ahead, please.
No, I'm very familiarized with the Reddit thing, and it was actually a success for a while because they called it digital collectibles. They didn't call it NFTs. Anyone who called it NFTs in the 2021 cycle just dumped, like Porsche and all of these, like Nike with the artifact. a collaboration, and then they bought it, and then they try to do something with that. But it was confusing. It was confusing. The jargon needs to be minimum. You need to talk to people in a language that they understand. So apart from what Kelly is saying, that I fully agree on, education is a huge thing. I feel like the regulatory burden needs to be minimum. And, I think that entrepreneurs and engineers and developers need to have the wiggle room to be able to make mistakes and to do that at a scale that is comfortable. I think the UAE, Switzerland, Hong Kong are doing a good job. El Salvador, the US, like, I thought was doing something like more kind of like relaxed, but it seems like they're not following through as we thought. But you need to be on top of it, but you also need to let the technology kind of find its place and find. I know it's difficult when we're talking about countries and millions of people, but you need to give space and kind of, we're innovating here. This has never been done before, and you need space to fail and to be able to do it in a way that allows you to go faster. So that's what I would change if I could.
Fully agree. And that kind of remembers me about something that Brazil is doing, for example. Like, it's just they just throw out some like regulatory framework for people to have some kind of clarity, but they keep building on top of that. And I think that's really important for every jurisdiction. Like, just go out there, have your sandbox, throw something and start, like version 1, version 2, trying to give more clarity and evolve based on experience and what's happening with the people that are actually using this kind of product. So nowadays, and we have seen, for example, that, yeah, Laura, you mentioned the Clarity Act and MiCA in Europe, and different sandboxes, for example, here in Colombia, in Mexico, and Argentina. They're trying to jump there, but I think that what people is not failing, but maybe aiming too harsh, is about having a final regulatory framework to work for the next 10 years. And maybe we need to look into a shorter perspective and start testing and evolving, and educating, of course, would be fundamental in these verticals. Like different states actually giving spaces, participating in retreats like BlockCon, for example. It would be really important to different actors to try to bring in a clear knowledge and a clear path to apply on their markets. That's what I would say, like kind of joining you both into what's fundamental for the conversation and the industry. Now, trying to give in a final approach, and maybe a little bit risky. Let's take again this date of 2036. Where do you guys think the industry is heading? We've seen, for example, that in BlockCon we have different verticals. We've seen the growth of the iGaming industry. Just a couple of months ago with the World Cup, it was crazy what happened around the world. Like, people actually entering into the iGaming space without knowing it. And that kind of showed us the potential that this industry has. And nowadays, again, and I mentioned this again and again, is like cross-border money moving in seconds is amazing. Like, kind of taking up for surprise. Even I heard of a case yesterday, a friend that is traveling to Europe, and I recommended a product, and he was like, I cannot believe I bought a bottle of water just by tapping my phone. And I told him, like, you are using crypto and you don't even know it. So try to give us a little bit of perspective here, and what's going to happen in the next 10 years with the space.
I mean, right now, yeah, I think everyone's trying to figure out how are we going to do it. And then, a couple years from now, it'll be setting everything up in the frameworks and, helping to educate people, and it'll be built into the infrastructure. But then there'll be adoption, and that's why I say 10 years, because I think, to get all of the different countries and everything working seamlessly and all the different brands globally, it's probably going to take about 10 years. And so I think the word, if I had to pick one word, would be then I think things will be working seamlessly, So it's just like, it's like when you use your card, you don't even have to think about it. You don't, have to think about what's happening. And that's what I think is going to happen.
Great. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, I think the word is seamless. I think that when we integrate stable coins, for example, is such a fantastic example of just having better technology to do it. 5 years ago, when I tried to transfer money internationally and I did it on a Friday afternoon, it wouldn't reach the person until Monday morning, and that's insane. Like, we have this technology, and why aren't banks implementing it? Well, that's another thing. But at BlockCon, you'll be able to meet these providers that will help you implement that to save costs, and also not having to to hand over those costs to the customer, because in the end, what you want it to be is efficient on both sides, and that it's a win-win. Yeah, I think that the future is seamless, and I think that BlockCon is going to be, we're going to be hosting BlockCon yearly, and it's just going to become more and more relevant, and bigger players are going to convene there, because it all has to do with digital finance and where the world is going, in my opinion.
Great. I do want to add on top of that, and it is, I think the right word is access. Nowadays, for example, stock markets, let's say, like, maybe you, if you're a regular citizen, you think like, yeah, the stock markets is just for people that are like sharp economists, and they go and trade and everything. But nowadays you can just open up an app and buy Amazon stock, like a tokenized one, which is bringing a lot of maybe democratization of this kind of markets. So it is a master play, I believe, because you are bringing in more people into markets. You are bringing in more people into using stable coins, into using crypto seamlessly, into tapping into different products. I just saw, for example, that um, Coinbase has this card that gives Bitcoin as cashback. So it is like different ways to introduce different types of digital assets, and you will be able to actually choose in whichever market you are, because we are talking about like global finance. I do believe this firmly, and is that 26 years ago, the internet broke the frontiers. Nowadays you just pick up the phone and call your friend in Tokyo, and it just takes one tap to do it. And I think blockchain and crypto is lowering down the financial frontiers. You will be able in the next 5 to 10 years to invest in the Japanese stock market, in the euro market, in the US market, on the Latin market, just by tapping something in your phone. And I do believe that this is a great opportunity for people, for builders, for a lot of different companies to bring in more customers, to bring in more money, and to bring in more evolution into what societies are built around. So yeah, that's kind of my final thought into joining with you girls, Sid, and I do appreciate all your thoughts and opinions. We're now closing this episode, which was so interesting to listen to both of you, and the fundamentals that people needs to actually tap into entering the space. And take advantage of all the opportunities that we will have in the industry, and of course in BlockCon, which will be a unique place to have the important conversations that you need to, if you're a builder, for example, to bring in more capital, if you want to learn and have the participate into regulatory frameworks. That's the place you need to be. So yeah, Kelly, if you want to give us your final thoughts, please take the stage.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. And I will be seeing everyone at BlockCon.
Thank you. Surely will be. Laura, go ahead.
Hey, thank you everyone for tuning in. BlockCon is where decision density over mass networking happens. We'll see you there. Don't hesitate to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, for having us and having this very interesting conversation. For everyone that's watching this, please go ahead and visit us at blockcon.co. If you want to know a little bit more about the retreat, everything is on the web page. Please follow us at Blockcon Global. And if you guys want to tap into education and participating into the different activities that Crypto has, go to streetcrypto.org and follow at the Street Crypto HQ to get every content if you want to tap into this space. So appreciate your time, girls. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you both here. See you then in Punta Cana. And guys, be ready for the next episode of the BlockCon Global Podcast. Thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.
Bye.